The mirror does not lie, but people do. And on that devastating Tuesday morning in my sophomore year, I learned exactly how cruel those lies could be when they came from someone I trusted with my deepest insecurities and biggest dreams. My phone buzzed at 6:47 a.m. with a notification that would change everything. It was not my alarm or a good morning text from my family. It was the sound of my world crashing down, delivered through a group chat message that had been sent while I slept, blissfully unaware that my so-called best friend was busy destroying my reputation one lie at a time. Wild how people forget to mention their surgeries before selling natural beauty. The message read, attached to a photo I recognized immediately. It was from my latest photo shoot, the one I had been so proud of, the one that had finally started getting real attention from photographers and brands. But now it was weaponized against me, turned into evidence of deception I had never committed. The sender was Maya Rodriguez, my roommate, my study partner, my closest friend since freshman orientation. The girl who had held my hair back when I was sick from dining hall food. The girl who had stayed up all night helping me practice for my communications presentation. The girl who knew better than anyone that the face staring back from that photo was the same one I had been born with. The same one I washed every morning without a trace of surgical alteration. But Maya had always been complicated when it came to beauty, success, and attention. I should have seen the signs earlier, should have recognized the shift that began the moment my amateur modeling photos started gaining traction beyond our tiny college social circle. We had met during freshman year orientation, both wide-eyed 18-year-olds who bonded over our shared love of fashion magazines and our secret dreams of modeling careers. Maya was stunning in that effortless way that made other girls simultaneously envious and inspired. She had perfect bone structure, flawless skin, and the kind of natural charisma that drew people to her like moths to a flame. I was different. Quieter, more reserved, but with features that photographers seemed to find interesting. Where Maya was classically beautiful, I had what my high school art teacher had called an unconventional face that tells a story. My nose had a slight bump from a childhood accident. My smile was asymmetrical. My skin had texture and freckles that most people tried to hide with makeup and filters. For our first year of college, these differences did not matter. We were just two friends taking amateur photos of each other, experimenting with makeup, and dreaming about futures that seemed impossibly glamorous and far away. Maya was always the one who got noticed first at parties, who had guys asking for her number, who seemed destined for the kind of effortless success that comes naturally to some people. But something shifted during the summer between freshman and sophomore year. I had gotten selected for a small local modeling gig through a photographer who had seen my photos on Instagram. It was nothing major, just a campaign for a local boutique, but it was my first paid modeling work. The photos turned out better than I had expected, and when I posted them, the response was overwhelming. Suddenly, I was getting messages from photographers, small brands, and other models wanting to collaborate. My follower count started climbing. Comments poured in about my natural beauty and refreshing authenticity. For the first time in my life, the features I had always been self-conscious about were being celebrated as unique and beautiful. Maya congratulated me, of course. She liked my posts and shared them to her story with encouraging captions. But I started noticing subtle changes in how she spoke to me about modeling, about beauty, about success. "You are so lucky your face is so symmetrical," she said one day as we were getting ready for class, her tone carrying an edge I had never heard before. "You do not even need makeup, I guess," she commented when I posted a fresh face selfie that got hundreds of likes. "What filter is that? Your skin has never looked that smooth before." She asked about a photo that I had posted completely unedited. Each comment felt like a small paper cut, insignificant on its own but adding up to something that stung. I tried to brush them off, telling myself that Maya was just being honest, that friends should be able to make observations about each other without it being a big deal. But the comments kept coming, and they kept getting sharper. When I booked my second modeling job, Maya asked if the photographer had been disappointed that I looked different in person than in my photos. When a brand reached out about a potential collaboration, she wondered aloud if they knew what I really looked like without professional lighting and editing. When other people complimented my appearance, she would add comments about how photos could be deceiving or how certain angles were more flattering than others. I started second-guessing everything. Was I really as naturally beautiful as people were saying, or was I just good at taking photos? Were the photographers who wanted to work with me seeing something real, or were they being fooled by clever angles and lighting? Was my growing success based on talent and unique features? Or was I somehow deceiving people about my appearance? The self-doubt Maya planted grew like a weed, choking out the confidence I had been building. I found myself taking dozens of photos before posting one, trying to make sure I looked exactly the same as I did in my professional shots. I started wearing more makeup, trying to recreate the polished look from my photo shoots in my everyday life. I began declining opportunities because I was afraid that clients would be disappointed when they met me in person. But despite my growing insecurities, my modeling career continued to gain momentum. I booked more jobs, worked with more experienced photographers, and started getting noticed by bigger brands. Each success should have felt like validation, but Maya's constant subtle undermining had made me question everything. Then came the group chat incident that would change everything. I woke up that Tuesday morning to find that Maya had shared my latest professional photos with our entire friend group, along with a caption that accused me of hiding extensive plastic surgery. According to her message, I had gotten lip fillers, a nose job, cheekbone implants, and something called buccal fat removal that I had never even heard of. None of it was true. Not a single word. I had never had any cosmetic procedures. I had never even gotten Botox or professional facials. The face in those photos was the same face I had been born with, the same face Maya had seen every morning for over a year as my roommate, the same face that had gradually gained confidence through hard work and the validation of professionals who appreciated unconventional beauty. But lies spread faster than truth, especially when they confirm what people want to believe about success they cannot understand or achieve themselves. Within hours, the rumor had spread beyond our friend group. Screenshots of Maya's message were being shared in other group chats, forwarded to people I barely knew, and discussed in dormitory hallways and campus coffee shops. People who had never paid attention to my modeling work were suddenly experts on my appearance, analyzing photos for evidence of surgical alteration that did not exist. The impact was immediate and devastating. A photographer who had been planning to book me for a major shoot sent an apologetic email, saying they were looking for models with natural beauty, and had decided to go in a different direction. A small beauty brand that had been in talks with me about an influencer partnership suddenly stopped responding to my messages. A local magazine that had been considering featuring me in their Fresh Faces section chose someone else without explanation. The whispers followed me everywhere. In the dining hall, I would catch groups of girls looking at me and talking in hushed voices. In classes, I felt like everyone was studying my face, looking for evidence of the surgical alterations that Maya had convinced them to see. The confidence I had spent months building crumbled in a matter of days. But the worst part was not the professional rejection or the social scrutiny. The worst part was the way Maya watched it all unfold with a satisfaction she could barely hide. She offered hollow comfort when I told her about the lost opportunities, but I could see something like relief in her eyes. She had successfully torn me down, and for a moment, she was back on top. That was when I realized what I was really dealing with. This was not about truth or concern for authenticity in the modeling industry. This was about jealousy, pure and simple. Maya could not stand to see me succeed in an area where she had always expected to be the star. Rather than working harder or finding her own path to success, she had chosen to destroy mine with lies. The realization was both heartbreaking and liberating. Heartbreaking because I had lost a friend I genuinely cared about. Liberating because I finally understood that the problem was not with me or my appearance or my worthiness of success. The problem was with someone else's inability to celebrate my achievements without feeling diminished by them. That understanding gave me the clarity I needed to make a decision that would change everything. Instead of hiding from the accusations or trying to defend myself against lies that people wanted to believe, I decided to do something radical. I decided to lean into my authenticity in a way that would make the truth undeniable. I started posting behind-the-scenes content from my photo shoots, showing the before and after of professional hair and makeup, demonstrating how lighting and posing could enhance natural features without altering them. I posted unedited selfies next to my professional photos, highlighting the similarities and explaining the differences that came from professional styling rather than surgical intervention. Most importantly, I started talking openly about the accusations I was facing and why they mattered beyond just my personal situation. I created content about the pressure on young women to conform to impossible beauty standards, about how accusations of being fake were used to tear down women who succeeded in appearance-based industries, and about the way society pitted women against each other instead of celebrating diverse forms of beauty. The response was not immediate, but it was profound. People started noticing the consistency in my features across different types of photos. They appreciated the transparency I was showing about professional photography and beauty industry practices. Most importantly, they responded to the message I was sharing about authenticity and self-acceptance. Comments started pouring in from girls who had faced similar accusations, from women who had been made to feel ashamed of their natural features, and from people who were tired of the impossible standards that made everyone feel inadequate. Finally, someone real became a common refrain in my comments. "Thank you for not editing your face like everyone else," people wrote. "This is what beauty looks like," others said. The authenticity that Maya had tried to weaponize against me became my greatest strength. While she had been focused on tearing me down, I had been building something bigger than just a modeling career. I had been building a brand around genuine self-acceptance and natural beauty. That was when True Glow Skincare reached out. They were launching a new campaign called Unfiltered Confidence, and they wanted a model who genuinely embodied the values they were promoting. They had been following my content and were impressed not just by my appearance, but by my commitment to authenticity and my willingness to challenge beauty industry standards. The campaign was everything I had dreamed of and more. Billboards, magazine spreads, online advertisements, social media partnerships. My face was everywhere, and it was celebrated specifically for being natural, unedited, and real. The features that Maya had tried to convince people were fake became the foundation of a campaign that celebrated authentic beauty. But the real vindication came from an unexpected source. A few weeks after the True Glow campaign launched, I noticed something interesting in Maya's social media posts. Her photos looked different somehow, and it took me a while to figure out what had changed. Then I realized what I was seeing. Her nose, which had always been perfectly straight, now appeared slimmed and refined in her photos. Her lips, which had been naturally full, looked even plumper and more defined. Her skin, which had always been beautiful, was now blurred and smooth to an almost inhuman perfection. Her cheekbones looked more pronounced, her jawline more defined. She was editing herself to look more like me. The girl who had accused me of hiding surgical alterations was now digitally altering her own photos to achieve features similar to mine. The person who had tried to shame me for supposedly being fake was now creating genuinely fake versions of herself. The comments on her photos reflected what everyone else was seeing too. "OMG, you are starting to look like that model from the skincare campaign," people wrote. "Did you copy her makeup or her whole face?" Others asked. "You look so different lately, what is your secret?" became a common question. Maya never responded to these comments directly, but I could see her struggling with the comparison. She had spent so much energy trying to tear me down that she had lost sight of her own unique beauty. In her jealousy and determination to undermine my success, she had somehow convinced herself that she needed to become more like me to achieve what I had achieved. The irony was devastating and complete. The girl who had tried to destroy my career by claiming I was fake had become the fake version of herself, desperately trying to recreate the natural features she had once mocked. But my success was not built on features alone. It was built on authenticity, consistency, and the courage to be vulnerable about the challenges of existing in appearance-based industries. Maya could edit her photos to look like me, but she could not replicate the genuine confidence and self-acceptance that had made my career possible. The True Glow campaign was just the beginning. Other brands started reaching out, drawn to the authentic message I was promoting and the engaged audience I had built around themes of self-acceptance and natural beauty. I became a spokesperson not just for products, but for a movement toward more realistic and inclusive beauty standards. I started speaking at colleges about body image and social media literacy. I partnered with mental health organizations to discuss the psychological impact of beauty standards and comparison culture. I used my platform to highlight other models and influencers who were promoting authentic representation and realistic beauty expectations. Each success felt like vindication not just for me, but for everyone who had ever been made to feel inadequate by impossible standards or malicious lies. I was building the career that Maya had tried to destroy, but I was building it on a foundation that was unshakable because it was rooted in truth. A year after the group chat incident that had nearly ended my modeling career, I ran into Maya at a campus coffee shop. She looked smaller somehow, worn down by the effort of maintaining a false image and competing in a game where the rules kept changing. She approached me hesitantly, clearly hoping for some kind of reconciliation that might help repair her own image or ease her guilt about what she had done. "Hey," she said, her voice uncertain. "I have been seeing your campaigns everywhere. You are really doing amazing things." I could hear the genuine admiration in her voice, mixed with something that might have been regret. For a moment, I felt a flash of the old friendship we had shared, the bond that had been real before jealousy and competition had poisoned it. "Thank you," I said simply. "I wanted to apologize," she continued, the words coming out in a rush, "about what happened with that group chat thing. I do not know. I was going through a lot of stuff, and I said things I should not have said." Even in her apology, she could not fully acknowledge what she had done. It was not just saying things. It was deliberately spreading lies designed to destroy my career and reputation. It was not just being stressed. It was making calculated choices to harm someone she claimed to care about. "I appreciate the apology," I said, meaning it. "But what you did was not just saying something you should not have said. You created false accusations about surgical procedures I never had. And you shared them with people specifically to damage my career and reputation. That was not stress or poor judgment. That was a deliberate choice to try to hurt me." She started to protest, to fall back into the same patterns of minimization and deflection that had characterized our entire friendship. "I know you probably do not want to hear this," I continued, "but your success does not require anyone else's failure. There is room for multiple people to succeed, multiple types of beauty to be celebrated, multiple paths to achievement in any industry. The energy you spent trying to tear me down could have been used to build yourself up." I paused, looking at her carefully edited Instagram photos displayed on her phone screen, evidence of how far she had strayed from her own natural beauty in pursuit of an image that was not authentically hers. "I hope you find your way back to who you really are," I said. "Because that person was beautiful too, before you convinced yourself that you needed to be someone else to matter." I left her standing there and walked away, feeling lighter than I had in months. Not because I had gotten revenge or because she had suffered, but because I had finally been able to speak my truth without anger or bitterness clouding my words. The experience taught me that jealousy and insecurity can make people do terrible things, but they can also reveal who someone really is underneath the friendship they present to the world. It taught me that success built on lies will always crumble, while success built on authenticity can weather any storm. Most importantly, it taught me that the face I was born with was not just good enough. It was exactly right for the life I was meant to build. The features that Maya had tried to convince people were fake became the foundation for a career that celebrated natural beauty and authentic self-expression. Today, I am the face of multiple campaigns that promote realistic beauty standards and self-acceptance. I work with brands that align with my values and support messages that make people feel better about themselves rather than worse. I have built a community of followers who appreciate authenticity over perfection, and who understand that real beauty comes from confidence, kindness, and the courage to be genuinely yourself. Maya still posts heavily edited photos of herself, still trying to recreate features and expressions that remind people of my campaigns. But she is chasing something that was never really about appearance in the first place. She is trying to copy the visual elements of success, while missing the substance that made it possible. The True Glow campaign that launched my career was not successful because I had perfect features or flawless skin. It was successful because I represented something that people were hungry for: honesty, authenticity, and the courage to exist in the world without apology or alteration. The girl who tried to shame my face for being fake now spends her time creating genuinely fake versions of herself, desperately trying to achieve the success that comes from being authentically, unapologetically yourself. She wanted the spotlight so badly that she lost sight of what makes someone truly worth watching. She tried to shame me for surgery I never had. Now she edits herself to look like the girl she tried to tear down. She wanted the spotlight so bad that she became just another shadow standing in my glow. But this story is not really about Maya's transformation or downfall. It is about the power of staying true to yourself when everyone around you is demanding that you become someone else. It is about the strength that comes from building success on a foundation of authenticity, rather than the shifting sands of other people's expectations. It is about learning that the most powerful response to lies is not argument or defense, but simply living your truth so consistently and confidently that no one can deny it. It is about understanding that real beauty, the kind that matters, the kind that lasts, the kind that changes things, comes from accepting yourself so completely that other people have no choice but to accept you too. My face tells a story now, but it is not the story Maya tried to write about surgical alteration and deception. It is a story about a girl who refused to let someone else's jealousy define her worth, who turned accusations of being fake into a celebration of being real, and who built an empire on the simple radical act of existing authentically in a world that profits from insecurity. The mirror does not lie, but people do. The difference is that mirrors reflect what is really there, while lies reveal what people wish was true. I chose to live my life like a mirror, reflecting truth, authenticity, and the kind of beauty that cannot be edited, altered, or copied. My face is still the same face Maya tried to shame and tear down. But now it is also the face that represents everything she could have been if she had chosen inspiration over jealousy, authenticity over imitation, and building herself up over tearing others down. She tried to shame my face. Now it is the one she is copying. And every time she edits herself to look more like me, she proves exactly why my natural, unaltered, authentic beauty was always more powerful than any lie she could tell about it. If this story inspired you to embrace your own authentic beauty and stand up against those who try to tear you down, please subscribe to our channel for more empowering stories about self-acceptance, overcoming jealousy, and building success on your own terms. Your support helps us continue sharing narratives that celebrate real beauty and authentic confidence. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of people who believe that the most beautiful thing you can be is yourself.